Welcome to this video on the pronunciation of commonly used terms in this book. The ease of reading and pronouncing Sanskrit words is a key to understanding the message of the Gita. In this audio video, we shall help you to pronounce and understand some of the Sanskrit words unique to Bhagavad Gita and Vedanta. Use of A, the letter A in the spelling indicates a short vowel A sound. For words ending in the vowel A, the pronunciation ends with the sound of the preceding consonant with a short A sound. Say for example, Veda, Arjuna or Krishna pronounced as Veda and not as Veda or Yoga or Krishna or Arjuna. They are just pronounced as Veda. Similarly, the use of A in the spelling indicates a long vowel A, and it is written in the book as A with a line on the top. For words using or ending in the letter A, the pronunciation ends or with the sound of the preceding consonant combined with a long A sound. For example, Ba, Ba, black sheep. Similar examples in the book are Vedanta, not Vedanta. The main characters, as you know, in the Bhagavad Gita are Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna is pronounced as Krushna in Devanagari with the root sound Ru. However, in English, it is commonly pronounced as Krishna using the vowel Ri. Similarly, Arjuna is pronounced with the A sound at the word end as Arjun. Shastra, commonly translated as scripture. However, in this book, the word scripture is not used as it does not carry the deeper meaning and significance of the word Shastra. It is pronounced as Shastra. Upanishad or Vedanta. The knowledge portion of the Vedas are called Upanishad. Because their message is the final message of the Vedas, they are also called Vedanta or Vedanta. Vedanta considers the divine spiritual knowledge as a predominant path to attain the divine. It is pronounced as Upanishad, Upanishad, Vedanta. Bhagavat. Anything related to divine or Bhagavan is Bhagavat. As this message comes directly from the divine, it is called Bhagavat. It is pronounced as Bhagavada and not Bhagavada. Please note that Bhagavad Gita is different from Bhagavat. Srimad Bhagavat is another Purana text of the devotional sect of Hinduism describing all the different incarnations, avatar of Bhagavan Vishnu and all the plays or Leela of the divine, especially Krishna, in different incarnations, along with the historical perspective of the creation of the universe. It is also called Srimad Bhagavatam in English. Gita literally means a poetry, Gita, which can be sung melodiously, pronounced as Gita. The chanting of Bhagavad Gita is very melodious and pious. Thus, we have included QR links for chanting of each of the 700 shloka and each of the 18 chapters or adhyayas. Pronounced not as Gita with a short I, but as Gita with a long E. Goal or sadhya. The goal of spiritual attainment, the spiritual enlightenment is called sadhya. Sadhya, and pronounced as sadhya. Means to the goal, sadhana. Though the goal is one, there are several means to the goal which culminate finally into the knowledge of the self as one with the divine. These several means are also called sadhana, pronounced as sadhana. The predominant sadhana described in the Veda, Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita are three: Karma Yoga, the path of actions, that is the chapter 3, Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotions, the chapter 12, and Gnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, or Sankhya Yoga, chapter 2. There are several other means to the knowledge, for example, meditation, dhyana yoga, which is the chapter 6, or the eightfold discipline Ashtanga yoga, which are all part of the main threefold means to the goal. Seeker or the sadhaka, the one who is on the spiritual path, is a seeker, a person who has desire to seek the truth and make a difference, to understand the truth of the existence, is called a seeker. It is pronounced as sadhaka. Viveka. Viveka is the discernment or discrimination done with wisdom between the absolute reality and the relative reality. It is pronounced as Vivek. Vairagya. Vairagya is the detachment or dispassion from the material world and its pleasures and possessions, with a matured understanding of the mind that this is not conducive to the attainment of my worthy goals in life. It is pronounced as Vairagya. Antakarana Shuddhi, or purity of mind, is a balanced state of mind free from the emotional upheavals during the experience of the dualities of life, with acceptance of all situations while maintaining the peace of mind. It is also a state devoid of the vices and filled with the divine qualities as described in the Shastra. Attaining this state of mind free from complaints and sufferings, living in the present moment, makes one eligible to understand the subtle nuances of the absolute reality of the existence. It is pronounced as Anta Karana Shuddhi. The two dots after Anta means a Visarga, which is pronounced as Aha. Anta Karana Shuddhi. Moksha or freedom. The ultimate goal of all spiritual endeavors is to attain a state of complete internal freedom when a person is in the state of perfect balance, free from all the mental limitations such as self-oriented desires, fear, anger, greed, attachments, and jealousy. Shastra describes this enlightened wise person who has been liberated from the karma described in Veda, and one who is not reborn and is liberated from the cycle of birth and rebirth. This is pronounced as moksha. Spiritual journey or sadhana. A seeker needs to embark on a spiritual journey to understand the truth of the existence. He or she needs to make efforts on the path to understand what the sacred texts or Shastra tell us. This journey of the seeker is called sadhana. It is pronounced as sadhana. Accomplished wise or siddha. The seeker who has reached the goal of spiritual enlightenment is called accomplished, siddha, or a wise, gnani. Gnani is pronounced as either gnani or jnani. In Shastra, one who has not reached the spiritual goal is an ignorant person called agnani, pronounced as agnani or agyani. Yoga. Yoga is the union of the seeker of the goal with the sought. It is a part of the journey of the seeker to seek the divine or the truth. Therefore, it is called Yoga Marga. There are several paths to the divine, and therefore each of the chapters of Bhagavad Gita demonstrates one method to attain the divine. Therefore, each chapter is named as Yoga. Pronunciation is like yoga, yoga, and not a long ah sound. It is not yoga, it is yoga. Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. These are the threefold means to attain the spiritual knowledge. Shravana means listening to the words of Vedanta from the Guru with concentration, and Manana is reflecting upon these words with its understanding to clear the doubts that arise in the mind due to contradictions between the Vedantic words and our personal experience. Nididhyasana is the process by means of Vedantic meditation to help annihilate our previous firm impressions of the inappropriate understanding and replacing them with the new impressions of listening to the Vedantic process and knowledge. They are pronounced as Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan. Guru Shishya Parampara. The Guru is the one who shows the light and dispels the darkness in our life. The learned and the realized teacher of Vedanta is called Guru, who imparts the teaching of Upanishad to the deserving disciple called the Shishya, who has become eligible by his desire to know the truth and has accepted to become a disciple to be governed by the Guru. Traditionally, the divine knowledge of the Upanishad has been transmitted from generation to another by lineage called the Guru Shishya Parampara. Adhyaya. There are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. These chapters are called Adhyaya. We have retained the name Adhyaya rather than calling them as chapters, as this is a unique nomenclature of Bhagavad Gita, signifying the process of Adhyayana or learning, recitation or repetition. It is pronounced as Adhyaya and not as Adhyaya or Adhyaya. Tattva. The universal all-pervading Tattva, as described in the Upanishad and Vedanta, is attributeless Nirguna and unseen Nirakara, unmanifest. It is eternal, unborn, unchangeable, indestructible and immortal. The same Tattva that is seen by the knowledgeable seers is described by the great devotees as the supreme divinity in Vedanta. This is the eternal foundation, the Adhisthana of the existence, and is the life force, Chaitanya, for all beings. This divinity, Ishvara, is the creator and is also part of the creation. We have avoided the use of words like soul, spirit in this book because this has many different connotations. Atma, which is derived from the root Atman, which are both the same. From an individual perspective, this Tattva can be perceived as our life force within ourself by a sadhaka who has undergone the sadhana. Self-experience from this standpoint, this Tattva is called Atma or Atman, both of which means the same. Brahma, which is derived from the root Brahman, and both of which mean the same. The same all-pervading Tattva, when seen from the universal perspective, is called Brahma or Brahman. This is the highest supreme divinity, knowing which is the final goal for the seeker on the path of knowledge to attain the divine. Brahman is very different from Brahma, which means an illusion, and also very different from Brahma, who is a creator deity, one of the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesha. Aikya Gnana. This knowledge of oneness of the individual Atma and the universal all-pervading Brahma is the highest knowledge of Vedanta. Knowing that there is only one essence in this universe, everything is Brahma, Sarvam Khalavidam Brahma is the epitome of the knowledge of the great truth statement or the Mahavakya of the Upanishad. Bhagavan. Bhagavan or God as defined in the Shastra is one who has completely fulfilled with 6 attributes or Bhaga, is pronounced as Bhagavan with a long vowel A, just as somebody who has a lot of wealth is called Dhanavan. The one who has all the 6 Bhaga in full proportions is called Bhagavan. Ishvara or creator is the God who is not just the creator but is manifest in the entire creation as unmanifest. And that's why in Vedanta, Ishvara is defined as Nimitta, Abhinna Nimitta and Upadana Karana. Maya. Maya is the divine power of the Ishvara, which creates all the illusions in the reality of the universe. It manifests the creation with its manifestation power by seeing it as a play or a drama or a leela, which is also called its Vikshepa Shakti, where it shows something different than what it really is, and hides the reality with its hiding powers, which is called the Avarana Shakti, like a veil of ignorance. It is most difficult to understand Maya and even more difficult to overcome it unless one takes the shelter of the controller of Maya, the supreme divinity Brahman. Jiva. The main components of the Jiva include Sukshma Sharira, the subtle body including all the 10 senses, the mind, intellect, ego, along with the impressions of the karma travel along with the Jiva from one life to the other on a long journey. The Jiva also comprises the reflected consciousness, Chaitanya, and the pure all-pervading consciousness, which together form the essential nature of the Jiva. The physical body, according to Shastra, is not considered a part of Jiva as it keeps changing from one birth to the other. Objects, Vishaya, the objects of desires, called the Vishaya in Shastra are all the materialistic objects of world which includes a physical body, enchant a person and creates desires to fulfill, and along with the strong likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha, they create a new illusionary world for the jiva called samsara. Senses or indriya. There are 5 knowledge senses, the 5 Gnanendriya, Gnana Indriya, which collects all the information from the external world and relays this information to the mana or the mind. These 5 Gnanendriya are the senses of seeing, hearing, smell, taste and touch. Please note that the eyes, ears, skin, nose and tongue are the physical organs called Golaka, but they are not the Gnana Indriya. In fact, the Gnanendriya are the subtle power within these senses to perceive the knowledge or the information and transmit it to the inner mind, Antahkarana. Similarly, there are 5 action senses called Karma Indriya or Karmendriya, which carries out different actions like speaking, walking, holding, procreating and excreting. Mana, the part of the inner mind, Antahkarana, which is responsible for considering the different options, Sankalpa, Vikalpa, and the thinking faculty of the mind is called Mana. Buddhi, the part of the inner mind, Antahkarana, which is responsible for the decision making and the rational logic and intellectual faculty of the Antahkarana is called Buddhi. Chitta, the part of the inner mind, Antahkarana, which is responsible for memory and the information storage faculty of the Antahkarana is called Chitta. Ahankara, the part of the inner mind, Antahkarana, which is responsible for ego and identification to the body-mind intellect complex is called Ahankara. This creates an identity of the individual and creates the complexes and many differentiations or the Bheda Buddhi. Sthula Sharira, the physical body is our physical personality and is called Sthula Sharira. It is born, undergoes various 6 modifications and comes to an end. It is made up of matter, Pancha Mahabhuta, and is a vehicle for carrying out our day-to-day duties of life. Sukshma Sharira is the unseen psychological part of our personality comprising of 17 elements, the 5 Gnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Prana, Mana and Buddhi. Karana Sharira, the causal body, the seed which is the cause for our birth, which arises out of ignorance of our true self is called Karana Sharira. Samashti, the universal perspective or the universal standpoint is called Samashti, whereas the individual perspective or the individual standpoint is called Vyashti. Vachyartha, during the Vedanta teachings, the literal meaning of Mahavakya of the Upanishad is called Vachyartha, where there is still a difference in the meaning of Jiva and Ishvara. Lakshyartha, during the teachings when the literal meaning of the Mahavakya does not make any sense, the implied meaning is to be understood, which is called Lakshyartha, where there is essential oneness in the definition of the Jiva and the Ishvara. With this, we come to the end of this pronunciation guide along with the book Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Krishna.